the the story starts way back early on in the late 1800s and maybe even in the mid 1800s to all the way up to today. And there are resources if you want to go find them that explain it a lot better than I could. But basically, it comes down to,
Bob, how did you find Carnival?
well, I have kind of an odd story. My story starts, along down the road. I haven't been one to do a lot of diets like other people do. I haven't been a one to really look for a solution to this problem because up until COVID, it really wasn't a problem. I've always been a big guy. I've been big since my memory serves me. Sometimes that big was treated as the fat kid. Sometimes that big was treated as a big asset, like in football and things like that. I mean, I was 6 feet tall when my freshman year of high school. I weighed 250 pounds and I could bench press almost double that. So, I mean, I was always a big guy, but I always had the big belly and the barrel chest and that kind of thing. Well, through the years, of course, that gets to expand more and more and more. And as I became more and more non-athletic, more and more office worker type person, not running around as much, I kept ballooning and ballooning and ballooning. But I've always been strong. So the weight never stopped me from doing the things I wanted to do. Maybe my physical size, like if I tried to get under my car, I would have to jack my car up higher for me to physically get under there. But I could still do the work and I could still do the things I wanted to do. And then COVID hit, and I went from being somewhat active, doing stuff in the factory, because I've always been a factory engineer of one kind or other. Sometimes on the floor, sometimes in the office. My most recent job was a mix of both. So I was out on the floor being physically, active, and also working in the office. So I had a little bit of both. Well, when COVID hit, it was all office work. I was one of those people that was lucky to be able to work from home. So we stayed home for months and months and months while we worked our way through that whole situation. And I became less active, which apparently COVID and a few other things took away that thing that made me strong. So, like, for example, mowing the lawn. Before that, I could mow my lawn, the neighbor's lawn, the other neighbor's lawns. I could just go all day. Give me some water, give me a moment to grab some lunch maybe or something like that, and I could just keep going. Post-COVID, I couldn't even mow my own lawn. I would have to mow like the front lawn and then take a break, or maybe only get 3 or 4 runs back and forth with the mower, and then I have to take a break. And that had been going on for a while. I could still work because I could still get in the office. I didn't have a long commute from my car to my desk, that kind of thing. And then more bad things started happening. It got to the point where even just normal daily hygiene was getting to be difficult. And I was just tired. I was tired of waking up every day. I was physically tired. I was mentally tired. I used to wake up every day and the first thing on my mind was, oh crap, now I got another day to go through. And I would go through because I have a wife, I have, a house and mortgage payments, car payments, all that kind of stuff. So I would find my way through the day. My normal constitution is pretty upbeat other than that way I wake up in the morning. By the time the day would go on, I would find challenges in the day and I'd be all right. But then night would come and, everything would come back again. In amongst all of this, and this is where now I'm getting to the carnivore story finally. In amongst all of this, I had won a Kickstarter program of an air fryer called a Dreo Chef Maker. And because I had won, I wanted to find out about it, more about it. So I went on the internet to see if there was anybody out there that was using it. And guess who I found? Dante Ferrigno. Dante is cooking this monster steak in this Dreo, and his tagline says, "Carnivore meal, can't wait to eat," something like that. I'm like, okay, carnivore, well, that's interesting, but I wanted to see what he's doing with this. I mean, it's like 2 inches thick, probably 22, 24 ounces that he's cooking in this air fryer. So I watched the video and I learned from it. And then I went, well, that's kind of interesting. What's he doing with this carnivore thing? So I went and found some of his older videos from like 2 years previous, and he looked completely different person. I mean, if you've ever seen Dante's story, he's like two different people. If you don't watch the progression, if you just go 2 years to today, you'd think it was like him and his son or something. Like there's two completely different people. And I thought, well, that's interesting. That's something to keep in mind. But I still wasn't looking for a change in my life. Then I got tired of all the maintenance issues. I had gone to see, my wife and I had gone to see our son in Minnesota. And, it was even like, I had to figure out what chair I was going to sit in. I had to figure out, I couldn't use his bathroom because he has a small bathroom in a trailer. I literally couldn't use his bathroom. So there was a lot of things that kind of all led into, well, wait a minute. There's this carnivore thing and that Dante did. And I had looked up a few other videos with Dr. Barry and a couple of other people. I'm like, I wonder if that would work for me. So day before my birthday, last year, August 19th, which is the day before my birthday, I decided I was going to go all in. I'm a Band-Aid ripper. So rather than ease into it, which is probably what we all should do, but a lot of us don't, I just decided that I'm not going to eat sweets anymore, no more carbs. I'm just going to eat meat and fat and see where it goes from there. The day before my birthday, let's see, you're talking to a carboholic that lives on nothing but candy and Coke Zero. I mean, literally I had candy bars, cases of candy bars in my drawer at work. And that's basically what I ate all day was candy bars and Coke Zero, to meat only. No carbs, no sugar, no nothing. Like from day 1 to day 2 and the day before my birthday. But I did it. And I guess that the dedication that I had and the fact that I could go my birthday without having a birthday cake. I had a birthday steak instead. That kind of thing, kind of hard to put candles in it, but you figure out a way. That was the start of it. And I just, I kept at it. I've got a few videos up on my channel where I talk about most of my story, but I didn't have a lot of aches and pains. I didn't have a lot of the stuff. I don't go to the doctor. I haven't been to a doctor for any long period of time for more than 10 years. So I don't know. I mean, I could have been diabetic. I could have who knows what. Because I've always felt good until COVID, I never really thought about it. I did go to see a doctor after I got over, because I actually did end up catching COVID. My wife and I both ended up getting it. We went into the hospital on the 1st of January. She got out 16 days later. I had gotten out 4 days after I went in. She got out 16 days after she went in. Mine was breathing. Hers was, her blood sugar went wacky. And it took them a while to get that under control. But once they got that under control, then she was fine. Since then, I have been fighting my way back, trying to get my strength back, trying to get back to what the Bob that I know, and it wasn't working. Carnivore gave me that back. So away from, besides the weight loss, which I'll talk about in a minute, my strength is back. I can mow my lawn. I can mow the neighbors' lawns. I can do those things that I couldn't for the longest time because of COVID mostly, but also because of, morbid obesity. Doesn't help. They the carnivore, I don't want to say diet, I want to say lifestyle, has given me back that. And if that's all I get out of it, that's great as far as I'm concerned. It's one of those things I always forget because it's what I'm so expecting to be. It's what I've always was before that, and now it's back. But some of the non-scale victories that people talk about, I haven't had yet. But it may be just that I have a lot more healing yet to do, because I had no idea. Now, I did get blood work done somewhere around day 120 or so. I did get some blood work done, and in looking at what my numbers were, I probably have fatty liver. We haven't confirmed that with like ultrasound or something like that, but my numbers indicate that it's probably fatty liver. But that's going to come down with carnivore. Carnivore will bring that down. I'll be getting my retest done in about a week is what I'm planning on. I was planning on doing it around day 180. I think I'm on day 176 right now. So probably sometime next week I'll end up getting retested and see how things are going. But my A1C was just a little bit above 6. It was like 6.1. So pre-diabetic, but not 12 like it could have been. And some of my other markers were good, like my triglycerides were down and my HDL is up, that kind of stuff. So carnivore's been having some effect, probably. We won't know until I get retested, but I feel better. I don't wake up hating the morning. I don't wake up wishing that I hadn't woke up. That's pretty much gone. So I do have a few non-scale victories, but like the brain fog, I was never foggy before, but I was so juiced up on sugar and caffeine that I don't know that I could have been foggy. Now I have to find another way. My ketones aren't doing what I hope they would do. I'm never above a 1. I'm usually 0.5 or less. I'm sure that once I get those to start regulating up, my brain will start to clear up better. Probably if I get rid of the fatty liver, that's probably going to help some things too. We'll see. But in the meantime, I do get flashes of it. Every once in a while, I get a flash of my old brain. And I'll have like a moment, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, where I can think super straight. I can think super clear. I can concentrate on what I'm working on really well. And those times are getting more and more frequent. So there is a glimmer of hope. That's all we can do is hope, right? So
Nice.
trying to think if there's any other parts to the story. The weight loss. I started out, I was probably 500 pounds. I know I was over 460 because that's as high as the scale that I had would go. I had ordered the heavier scale that would go up to 500 and something. They sent me the wrong one. So in the time that it took them to resend me the right one, I got down to where the 460 scale could actually weigh me. So I was above the 460. I know that. How far, it's hard to say. It was like a 2-week lapse. So if you were to make a regression curve out of it and extrapolate back, I was probably easily 500 pounds when I started the journey. And then as I finally got the scale and started coming down on the scale. Today, I'm sitting at about 366. So I've lost, guaranteed 110, but who knows how much more. From my original weight of, in the 470s, could have been higher. It's been stuck in that 466, 468, 463 range for 3-4 weeks now. At least 3 weeks, probably more like 4. It seems to bounce around.
Sorry, 366, 368.
Yeah. Sorry about it. Did I say something different?
466.
Okay, yeah, 366. a lot of people say you shouldn't weigh yourself every day. I'm one of those numbers people. So I don't let the number on the scale disconcern me. It's just kind of, I wish it would go down a little more, but if it doesn't, hey, my pants are fitting better. My shirts are fitting better. I'm feeling better. If I'm stuck with 366 for a while, I can live with it. It's just that meteoric drop was kind of cool, and it would have been neat if it had just kept going, but my body's got better things to do apparently.
And it's great that your strength's coming back.
Yeah, it really is. And the other thing I did was just recently I placed an order on Amazon for resistance bar and some resistance bands. So I've kind of made my own X3, if you will. And so I've started with that probably a month now. I'm not seriously doing it. I'm doing more of just kind of getting used to the routine, getting used to using the equipment, looking at some videos to get some feel for what I should and shouldn't be doing at this stage of my, exercise and my pathway. But I'm doing bicep curls and tricep curls and standing rowing, that kind of thing. So I've got a lot of body movement. The other thing that I'm doing is I have a Oculus Quest 2, and between Beat Saber and Supernatural, I've been doing a lot of movement exercise, getting my arms moving, getting my legs moving. Not so much for the cardio of it, is just moving, just getting movement back into my body. So I do a little bit of that as like a warm up, and then I'll go and use the resistance bands as part of the exercise, the actual strength training part. And I don't get tired from it. So, that's obviously something going on there. The other thing that I've noticed is it used to be that if I stood for any period of time, I would get these numb areas on the outer parts of my thighs. And the period of time that I can stand has gotten longer and longer and longer between carnivore and I think the training a little bit and pushing my body a little bit more has helped that quite a bit. So, I can actually go and work I have a koi pond out in the backyard. I dug that back when I was stronger. I actually dug the pond myself. It's 4 feet deep in the middle. It works its way up. It has terraces and everything. And I'm getting out there now, and I'm able to work in the pond. I'm actually able to craziest thing. In my life, I have no memory of ever being able to bend over and tie my shoes. Ever. Back to grade school. I can now bend over and tie my shoes. What the heck is that? And I did it without thinking about it, which is the craziest thing. I was at work, my shoe came untied, I just bent over and tied it, and then caught myself and went, what did you just do? You just bent, not bracing on the table, not putting my foot up on something. I just bent over and tied my shoe. Okay. That's weird.
It's those little things that happen that it's so small, but it's life-changing, right?
Yeah, it just jars you. So now, like if I were to drop something off the table right now, I could just bend over and pick it up. And before it would used to be a logistic plan. Okay, hand has to go here, arm has to go there. Do I put my leg all the way down? Do I not put my leg all the way down? It was a plan to do those things. I don't have to do that anymore. So there's a lot of little things like that. The thing that I find that helps me the most with this journey is the people at work. Everybody at work is so supportive. They're so interested in what I'm doing. They'll come by and say, hey, you're looking great today, that kind of stuff. I had one of my coworkers come by and was commenting on my shirt. I'm actually wearing 5X's and they're a little loose on me now instead of 6X's and being tight, and that kind of thing. And I'm branching out into other colors besides just gray. I'm wearing, well, obviously, I'm always the Hawaiian shirt guy. If you want to find me, look for the guy in the Hawaiian shirt. But other than that, at work, I can't wear them. So I've started wearing like teal and salmon and silly colors like that, just because I can now. I can actually buy clothes in those colors. I'm not stuck with gray, white, and black, that kind of thing. And so that's kind of cool. And the other thing that happened was at work, we have what they call wellness warriors, people who are doing things to better themselves in ways that maybe benefit other people too. Other people can learn from that example. So I got voted wellness warrior for January. And they put a little blurb in the local paper in the building, and also I was up on the computer monitors for the month of January. So that was kind of neat. And that, spurred some people to ask questions and ask about what I'm doing. The group that I'm with now, they have a Friday lunch where they'll pick a random place around town and we all go for lunch. And they're always asking, now, is this a place that you can go? And I'm like, almost everywhere is going to have a hamburger. Almost everywhere is going to have some kind of meat. I mean, worst comes to worst, I just drink water. It's not the end of the world if I don't have a meal, especially me. But, they're always deferential about that. And I'm saying, please, you don't have to. If you want to go to Chick-fil-A, we go to Chick-fil-A. It doesn't bother me one bit. I just pick up I just get a water and sit and have networking time with the group, it's kind of neat that they do that. And I have a couple people that are doing the slow fade into carnivore, slow fade into keto, no longer buying chips and soda and that kind of thing. Just finish what they've got and then continue on doing other things besides chips and soda and carbs and what have you. And they'll ask me, well, I really want, I want to make some tacos. How can I make tacos without a shell? And I said, well, it just so happens I know a guy that knows how to make tacos, knows how to make tortillas out of eggs and panko. You can make taco shells out of eggs and pork panko. Those are animal things. Just because we do something interesting with them doesn't mean we're not allowed to eat them. So, and those kinds, and I encourage them those ways. So some people are, interested. Some people are accepting of what I'm doing for me. And I've had people ask, like I said, I've provided some people with Dr. Berry's PhD guidebook. That's one of those things that he tells everybody, share it where you need to, share it where you can. So I am.
So it's great to hear how supportive everyone is at work. That most other cases, that tends to be the opposite situation. What's different about your workplace?
I think it's me. I don't want to be immodest, but I'm pretty good with people. And I've been there now coming up on 10 years. This is my 10th year. So September I'll be 10 years there. I started out in an engineering department. So I kind of was all over the factory. I was interacting with all these different people, between machine operators all the way to maintenance and everybody. So everybody kind of got to know me, and I'm the guy that helps you. Everybody else will say, okay, I'll take that down and we'll blah, blah, blah. I'll do it. And they see me doing it. It isn't that I pay lip service to it. I actually try to get done what it is I say I'm going to try to get done. So between being in engineering, being in IT, and now being in operations, people just tend to know me and know that I'm the right guy to do the thing they need to have done. And I think that wanting me to be happy and wanting me to succeed is what feeds them to come back and help me and be supportive. Because if for no other reason, it helps them get the things they want. There's nothing wrong with that.
You talked about your wife before. How is your wife with this?
She has a different plan for her life than I do, a different path that she's going down. She's not against my path. She doesn't get in my way of my path. She's supportive of my path. And kind of in the background, sneakily, I don't know if she can hear me or not, but I've been kind of sneaking in a little bit of carnivore here and there with her. I've been doing a lot of the cooking in the house. And so I don't just cook one steak, I cook two, and so she'll have steak with her salad, or she'll have steak with her broccoli, or that kind of thing. If that works for her, great. I don't have a problem with that. My concern is that she is a type 2 diabetic. She does do a lot of different kinds of shots between insulin and some other things, some stuff that I don't want to talk about, but let's just say I'm not real hip on the uses of it, but it's working for her right now. And that's, I think, more important than me trying to push something on her, let's say. So just me being here and being an example and seeing what's going on and is helping her. And in fact, we had that conversation last night at dinner. We do go out. That's one thing I will say that's, not I don't foresee that ever changing. Sunday night is we go to the Chinese buffet. Now I'm lucky. The buffet that we go to, I have 3 different meats that I can choose from there. They're not breaded, seed oils maybe a little bit, but if that's the only place I'm doing bad stuff, I think I'm doing okay. And so between the different beef options and like they have a spicy chicken, I mean, I like that. So I can eat that, and it's a buffet, so I can eat all I want. They have a seafood boil that they do. So they have clams and mussels and crawfish and all that kind of stuff. So that's our time to get together and just have conversation. And we were talking about last night, carnivore, and she was talking about how her knees were really bothering her, hands were really bothering. I'm like, I think I know a solution for that. That she goes, well, how much more carnivore can I do? And I said, well, I have to think about that. But I mean, she is right. She is at least ketovore the way things have been going lately. But it's not been very long. She's got to do the healing she needs. It's going to be a little while. And she's only probably been truly in the ketovore realm, I would say maybe a week or 2. So we got a little more work for her yet.
Got it. And like, how is your day mapped out as far as eating goes?
Well, one of the things that's a little weird with me is I only sleep about 4.5 hours. I've been sleeping 4 to 4.5 hours. 25 years now I've been sleeping that way, ever since I got my CPAP. So I get up just naturally at 4 o'clock in the morning. At the latest I get up is 4:30. I may go to bed at 10 or 10:30 or 11, but I'm usually watching videos, or I'm doing something, or I'm reading a audio, or listening to an audio book, or reading a book on my tablet. So I don't actually go to sleep until midnight or so. And then I just naturally wake up between 4 and 4:30. And I just have my normal morning, and my morning is pretty calm. I slide into the day. I jump up and I'm ready. I mean, I'm not tired when I wake up, but I just kind of slide into the day. I look to see if there's anything I need to take care of from work. because even though I'm not technically a 24/7 employee anymore, I am. I think of myself that way. I just, if they need something from me, I'm there to help them whenever I can. So I check my mail, I check that kind of stuff. I have a few online games that I play, and then I do a little bit of resistance exercise just to kind of warm up for the day. Nothing out of the ordinary, nothing strenuous. And then depending on how I feel, some days I'm hungry, some days I'm not. If I'm hungry, I'll make a few eggs and some bacon, that kind of a thing. If there's some leftover hamburger or something like that, I might throw it in there and make, one of Carrie's power bowls or something like that. But I'm not always hungry when I wake up, which is fine. Then, I go to work. I have to be in my desk by 8 o'clock, but I'm usually there by 7:30, sometimes 7 o'clock. And then I'm one of those lucky people that get to work. I have a hybrid work schedule, so I work until noon in the office, and then I come home and I work from home the rest of the day. And that could be anywhere from 1 o'clock to who knows when. It's whenever I'm done with whatever needed to get done that day. So, when you and I are done talking, I'll probably have another hour or two of things that I want to get done. They didn't have to get done today, but I want to get them done today. So I'll work on those. And then, in between all that, I come home at lunch and I cook a steak. Usually it's ribeye. Sometimes it's T-bone. Just recently, one of the people in the Friday lunch group told me about a store that's in the next bigger town north of here. It's a warehouse food store, and it looks like a regular grocery store, but the prices are really reasonable, and they have extra special, weekly things. So like last week, it was T-bone. So you get T-bones for $4.40 a pound. $4.40 a pound for T-bone. And they weren't little tiny T-bones either. They were, a good sized T-bone, at least an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter T-bone. I'm not much of a bone guy. I tend to not order bone, but for $4.40 a pound, I'm right with you right there, man. So, I bought a bunch of those. And they had hamburger was like $3 something for 73.27, which is, I think, the highest fat I can find around here. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get as much fat as I can. Turns out I'm not doing as much as I thought I was, but that's another story. But yeah, so it was really cheap for hamburger, really cheap for the T-bones. And pork chops, they were almost giving them away. $1.49 a pound. That was like, what the heck? So I bought a big old package of those. Now they were thinner, but just cook two of them. It's not like it's a big deal. Stick them in the chef maker in the Dreo air fryer, and 15 minutes later you got food. So that works out pretty good for me. And then depending on what her plan was for the evening, if she's going to have a salad or whatever she's planning on having, I may have another small steak. Or tonight, my plan, I had bought some chicken tenders. Now, the price isn't the best in the world, but chicken tenders already ready to go, all sliced up, ready to go for $3.99 a pound. I'll take them. And then all I do is I use pork panko, dip them in egg, roll them in some pork panko, stick them in the air fryer. I'm ready to go. I do allow myself mustard as a dipping sauce if I want something, but most of the time I don't even use that anymore. Put a little bit of the pork panko adds a little bit of flavor. It gives the oiliness, so you don't have to add any oil. Seals in the juices. That stuff is wonderful that way. I use pork panko for all kinds of things. Some of it I make myself. Some of it I buy pre-ground. So yeah, there's that. And then that's pretty much it for the day. And I spent a lot of time surfing YouTube, and I do, I do work on and off during the evening, depending on if I have a brainstorm. Like I said, every once in a while, that flash comes back, and I'll have a spark of inspiration, figure out the solution to a particular reporting issue I'm having, and so I'll solve that. And otherwise, I watch whatever the wife's watching, and we have our evening, and that's it. It's pretty calm life.
For someone watching that, it seems like a pretty unbelievable change. So from August 19 until now, you've lost 100 and something pounds.
Yeah.
More than 150 pounds.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're feeling better. You're getting your strength back. You're having, like you say, those flashes of the old mind and that kind of thing. When someone's looking at this, they think, I can't believe that it's just meat that can do this. Yeah. As far as I know, meat is bad for you.
Right.
So what would you say to them?
Well, the problem with the meat is bad, the fat is bad story is it's not based on really any science. And, when I look at the thousands and probably tens of thousands of people that prove the lie every day that meat is bad, that's a lie. And they prove that lie every day. You have to start to wonder. And there is a rabbit hole, if you want to go down it, that explains why things are the way they are, why people think that meat's bad and fat's bad, and that you have to have carbs and all those kinds of things. The story starts way back early on in the late 1800s, and maybe even in the mid 1800s, to all the way up to today. And there are resources, if you want to go find them, that explain it a lot better than I could. But basically, it comes down to ketones and our body and fat and the way it works. That's actually our primary fuel system. Everybody treats it like a backup fuel system, but it's not really. And we're born in ketosis. We aren't born carb eaters. We're born in ketosis. We become carbohydrate burners during our infancy. If you're never introduced to those as an infant, you're burning ketones your whole life. It's not a secondary, it's not a backup, it's the primary source. What all of your cells in your body are designed to work on. They can also work the other way, but they work better with this. And that's where the stuff is. I mean, the meat and the fat is where you're going to get your energy from. It's all the building blocks that you need for making your bones, your muscles, your brain. There are a few cells, there are some things in your body that do need sugars, glucose, and things like that. But your body makes what it needs. Your liver does that job. Some people may have trouble, and then, so they get a little support. But the great majority of people, their bodies just do what needs to be done once you get out of the way. Once you stop eating things that inflame you, once you stop, bringing into your body things that your body really doesn't like, you get out of your body's way, it'll do the amazing things. I've heard stories of people with MS going in remission for years and years and years, just eating meat and fat. It's because their MS is a autoimmune caused by inflammation. If you're not eating food that causes inflammation, your body gets a chance to look at other things and work on other stuff besides trying to fix the inflammation issue. It's amazing what it can do.
Just one question that I was going to ask before and I forgot. You mentioned the CPAP machine. Have you finished with the CPAP machine?
I don't know that I ever will, simply because it's one of those crutches that I've had for so long. It's part of my sleep routine. where some people have to turn all the lights off and close the windows and turn the TV off and all that kind of stuff. For me, it's put on the mask. Put on the mask, settle down, take my glasses off, take the earbuds out, settle. I'm asleep within 5 minutes. As long as I don't take the glasses off and as long as I leave the earbuds in, I'm good. I can have the CPAP on because mine lets me actually wear my glasses and that kind of thing. The reason I do that is because some nights I get less than 4.5 hours of sleep, and the CPAP doctor gets mad at me if I'm not at least 4 hours with the CPAP on. I'm like, but it's on. I'm just not sleeping. I'm sorry. So I put it on ahead of time, and so that way it records me having more time with it, even though I'm not actually sleeping during that time. The thing I have noticed though is there's a number that my CPAP generates. It's the AHI number. It used to be in the 4s and 5s as a regular thing, and now it's in the 0s and 1s. So it's pretty obvious that I don't really need it for support. If I didn't wear it one night, I'm not going to wake up like a zombie the next day, type of thing. But it's just part of my sleep routine, and it never has bothered me since day one. The first day I put it on, one of those crazy stories, I used to sleep 10, 12 hours. That was my minimum. I mean, I was out. I was a rock for 12 hours. Discovered that I was falling asleep at red lights and all this other stuff. So I knew I had sleep apnea. Got a sleep study, got the CPAP. The day I put the CPAP on, I started my 4-hour sleep routine. That night, I slept 4 hours. I was woke up and ready to go. Within a month, I'd lost 50 pounds because I had energy. I was ready to go. I was walking to school. I was at college at the time, and I was walking to campus and doing everything around campus, and I had energy. Well, over the years, of course, that starts to wane, and of course, you start to balloon back up. It's the typical American thing, until you find carnivore, and then everything reverses. But until that time, everybody gets bigger over time, unfortunately. And like I said, I was such a carb addict that it was inevitable that I was going to be big. I hate saying the word fat, but I was in this plus 60 BMI. I'm in the low 50s now, probably right at 50 BMI right now, according to my scale that I have. So I'm still morbidly obese, but at least I'm not where I was. And that's a good thing. So as far as the CPAP goes, I may look at trying without it because it would be more convenient. Like if we were to go on a trip, not having to take it with me, or if we were going to go camping or whatever it might be, not having to have it would be convenient. But if I have to, like I said, I'm used to it. It's become my, what do you call that? My body pillow, if you will. It's my part of my routine.
So, Bob, can you talk a little bit about your YouTube channel, please? Well,
it started out. We used to have a house with a swimming pool, and the pool when we took over the house, the pool was a disaster area. So through my searching on the internet, I found out how to take care of the pool myself, so I didn't have to have a pool man. And I brought it back from black swamp to a good, nice, clean, useful pool. So I had a lot of videos about that and how to take care of a pool yourself. So that's how my channel started. And I had quite a few subscribers back then, but then it kind of went fallow for a while. We moved to our new house now, which doesn't have a pool. So that, that impetus kind of went away. I have now transitioned it into being a carnivore channel. So I've taken down the pool videos and put up some, and right now I have 3. So I never thought about chronicling my journey. I never thought of myself as being interesting enough to really anybody would care. and it never thought about it for myself because, I have my own internal memory, but my internal memory doesn't work so good, I've discovered. So having that, even those 3 videos up there are really helpful for me too. And so, yeah, my channel it's, Pa Beater 1941. That's just the handle that YouTube gave me. I've been Pa Beater since I've been on the internet. It's probably been plus 20 years I've been Pa Beater. My wife's American Indian, so she's a person that works with beads. I'm her husband, so I'm Pa Beater. So her original handle was Beater, and mine was Pa Beater. Someone stole hers, but no one's stolen mine yet. So I've kept the handle all these years. And so when I went to the YouTube, that's what YouTube gave me, is the Pa Beater 1941. So I have a 90-ish day video. I have I can't remember now, like 120 or so, maybe 140. And then I just recently put up a 170 plus 1. It was supposed to be 170, and I discovered I was actually 171. So it's a 170 plus 1 video. And I talk a little bit about the journey. I'm just kind of yakking more than anything. But I do talk about the fact that, we do go out Wednesday nights, chicken wing night. We have an all-you-can-eat chicken wing place. I can get them plain. They don't cook them in seed oils. So we enjoy that. And, that's always been our thing. People from work will show up sometimes. The waitresses and everybody knows us. The manager comes over and sits at our table sometimes and talks to us. We go there a lot. So, we have like one of 3 tables they sit us at, because sometimes we have a big group. Sometimes it's just the wife and I. It's really variable. I've been inviting a local carnivore. There is somebody that I discovered in Dr. Barry's group that actually lives here in the same town I live in, Cartersville. And she's been wanting to come out and at least, say hi, meet each other at Chicken Wings. But her husband's is not doing very well right now, so she hasn't had an opportunity to come out. But at some point, we'll have a meetup there. So there's always this variable number of people sitting at our table at any one time. So that's, we do the Wednesday night and the Sunday night, and then the rest of the time we eat at home. That's, so I talk about that on my channel, and I talk about, just general life stuff, nothing earth shattering. I'm looking to start transitioning into more of the kinds of content that other people are doing, but I don't want to do the same thing everybody else does, because I sure ain't like everybody else. But I want to talk about some of the changes that I'm seeing a little more, and my opinion on some of the things that I've been seeing out in the carnivore space and out in the world in general. Not that my opinion necessarily matters, but it matters to me. So maybe it'll matter to somebody else.
Nice. Well, Bob, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us. I really appreciate your time.
I appreciate it. I appreciate being on your channel, and I appreciate having the time to talk.